Hello everybody, welcome back to the Football Film. We've got a banging episode for you today. We have got a Premier League goalkeeper coach in the house and we're going to be breaking down some of the big goals that went in this weekend. In particular, David De Gea and Bernd Leno. We are not happy with some of these goals that have been going in. Man United were absolutely rubbish. Man City incredibly lucky to get a shambolic 95th minute penalty. Antonio Conte crying like a bit of a baby once again. And Arsenal and Newcastle, huge wins. Please put some respect on their goddamn name. Let's get into this. Okay, so on today's show, we have got recently sacked, sorry Cuts, mate, sorry, recently sacked Premier League goalkeeper coach Neil Cutler. Cuts, how are you, mate?
Doing really good, mate, really good.
Nice to see you, mate, thank you. We've had Cuts on a podcast once before, and if you haven't listened to that, go and give it a listen. It's an absolute bout. The insight, the detail is incredible. And we're going to be talking about some of the goalkeepers playing in the Premier League this weekend and breaking down the goals and why they went in, where they went in and all that kind of stuff. And as usual, Mark Goldbridge.
You all right?
How are you, mate?
Not too bad. We lost though, didn't we? So.
Were United as rubbish as what everybody thinks they were? Because I've seen some of the highlights and they didn't look like they were particularly brilliant.
No, I think they were poor, and I know we're going to talk about the goals in a minute, but I don't want to individualise it. I keep saying this because United are on a rebuild. I think Ten Hag's doing a good job, and there's so many poor performances, like you said, from yesterday, from goalkeeper right the way through. I mean, Martinez has been brilliant for Manchester United, adapted to league so well. He had a bad game. I think the only player to come out of it with any sense of class was Casemiro, and everybody was poor. But I think 10 players played on Thursday night against Sociedad, and then 2.5 days later you're going to Villa Park, whole week off, new manager. Villa Park is rocking, and I never thought we were going to win that game. I thought a point at best, and it's such a shame as well because I think we spoke about Brentford a few weeks ago when I felt after 2-0 down after 10 minutes, I thought Villa might go and win this 4 or 5-0. It could be another one of those. And I thought if we can, I didn't think we'd win. I was just like, if we can just keep this at 2-0, get a bit of respectability, at least there's something that the manager can work with. We get 2-1, I'm like, bit of a lucky goal. Second half, I'm like, Villa might get a bit nervous here. What do we do? Straight away again, concede a goal. And then 3-1 down with 35 minutes to go against the Villa team that's had the whole week off. And the crowd, I was like, that's it. It's over. So really disappointing, but probably not surprised, and we've got to figure out how to do this Sunday thing that's going to be a massive problem for us for the rest of the season.
How tough is that, Kurt, if you're a team in Europe and having to juggle that and the Premier League every single week?
It's tough because you haven't got enough time to be able to get ready for the next game in the detail that you need, especially like we just spoke about with the bounce back. Do you know what I mean? They've got the new manager bounce. They've gone a week of detail with the new manager. They're all up for it. Like the home crowd, the atmosphere. Villa were always going to fly out the box. Yeah. And psychologically, Man United not got time to get ready for that.
So, just to put a bit of context around it, Kurt was at Villa, a week ago? You were literally there a week ago with Stevie Gerrard. Unfortunately, new manager comes in, and when that happens, it's always a bugger of he will bring his own coaching staff, all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, been let go by Villa, which is a shambles, by the way, because he's one of the best goalie coaches I've ever worked with. Absolutely top class. When you're preparing for a team like Manchester United, what would you have targeted playing against United?
Obviously, we'll go off the game before and what we need to improve on from the game before as a goalkeeper, right? And then we're heading into their attacking, what they're going to bring of their attacking threats. They've got so much going forward that you have to try and cater for all that. So as a goalkeeping coach, I'll be spending 4 days on the detail of how they're going to, all their threats basically, how they're going to score.
Set pieces,
everything, like they're attacking, the wide players coming off the line, they've got attacking players, like so many threats, so you have to deal with all that detail.
So that's where you let Emmy know basically about anybody that might, even if it's somebody that might take a pot shot from 40 yards, keep an eye on him, Emmy, because he does this.
What we do is, the way it's changed and the way it should change is, it's not me standing in a room going, you need to do this or you need to do that. All the goalies are coming, and we call it a threat meeting, and it's basically a discussion. So the discussion will be, what do you think about that? What do you think about this? I think that. What do you think that? Rather than it being, you got to do this and you got to do that because of this. Do you know what I mean? It's like Emmy will have different. Emmy loves to talk. He loves to chat. He'll be like, oh, what do you think about this? So it becomes a discussion, and that's the way it should be. Exactly the same with you. It's like, it's a discussion. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm having a discussion with you on the best to get the best outcome.
Could you see this result coming then?
I could a little bit, yeah. I know what the lads are like. I know what the atmosphere is like. As you say, they've come off the back of a big game. The detail of the new manager and the way he set up was fantastic. Speaking to Emmy during the week, and the way he changed the formation and the way they played to counter Man United was very, very good and very detailed. The way they boxed the midfield and overloaded the midfield, split strikers to get down the sides of the centre halves. It was excellent, really good. Emmy played higher up.
Yeah.
He was more of a quarterback, he played higher with more confidence.
Why is that though? Is that because Man United aren't necessarily going to press?
Well, they're pressed with one, so I think it was...
And it's Ronaldo as well.
Easier to play around, much easier to play around. So Emmy, obviously, is calm in possession, just played around him so easy.
Yeah,
and the way that Villa overloaded the midfield with a box with the two tens coming in, 2 6s. Just couldn't get.
You said that. Casemiro and Eriksen
I felt like it was 1 versus 3. I thought Casemiro was the only player that had a good game for United, and Eriksen, I like him. I'm starting to think. It happened against Brentford, it happened against City. Eriksen's great if you've got the ball, and Ten Hag said after the game, we played to have the ball, but if you haven't got the ball, he doesn't win many interceptions, he's not very physical, and Donny van de Beek was invisible, so that's most games are won and lost in the midfield, aren't they?
Exactly right.
Exactly.
So then in the build-up, they were having to push, I think it was the right-back in. Dello had to come in, which then left the 3, and then the 2 quick split strikers were just getting down the sides with pace, and that's...
Fill your boots.
And he's just a clever manager.
He's done this a few times. I mean, Villarreal, Man United have played them a lot. We lost in the final to them. I'm interested to see what he's going to do, because I think Arsenal was a big job for him, but Villa might just be the right level for him to go in if he's given time, a bit of money. He's a very good coach.
Detail and money.
All right, I want to talk about the first 2 goals, okay? So let's start it off with Leon Bailey's goal, all right? So I saw this goal like most people did, and the commentator, when it goes in, oh, what a finish, lovely finish. De Gea could do nothing about it. I disagree with that, right? I disagree, Neil, where I think there's a million things that David De Gea could have done a little bit better to give himself the best chance of saving it. So tell me from your perspective exactly how that goal went down.
So, you tell me. So De Gea, I think De Gea's a top-class goalkeeper, by the way, so he's very foot-led. Yeah. He's foot-led. His starting position's quite high. He saves a lot with his feet. His body weight's normally falling backwards. So anything from that distance, and he's foot-led, right, he's falling back, and it's beating him outside the line of his body. You can't be foot-led from a shot that's coming from 18, 20 yards. You have to hold your shape for longer.
You've got time to get down with your hand, basically.
We spoke about it a lot when we worked together, didn't we? We were like, because you're semi-foot-led, and you made unbelievable saves. And we'd always have that, because it's a grey area between goals, isn't it? Yeah. It's like foot save, hand save is a real grey area, because you're not able to transfer. If you save with your feet, you're not going to save as many as if you could transfer with your hands. That's basics, common sense. So you have to hold your shape for longer so you can transfer and push. Now, it becomes subconscious. So De Gea would have tried to save with his feet subconsciously. That's not anything else, because he's always doing that. So subconsciously, he's like a foot save, foot save. Whereas it can't always be a foot save. Yeah. You have to be holding your shape for longer, keeping your body weight forward so you can transfer. If he'd have led with his hands, he would have caught it. Not only have saved it, he would have caught it.
Yeah, he's fallen back. The way I saw it was, it looked way too easy to go in the first place. Yeah. He's got a good strike on it. Bailey's struck it really, really well, but he hasn't smashed it. He hasn't drilled it in the corner so hard that you go, whoa. Mm-hmm. The problem is, David De Gea falls back a little bit too easily, and it's just out of the line of his foot save, so his foot can't reach it, but then he doesn't think first to go with his hand. His first intuition just goes, go with your foot. And then when
subconscious,
exactly. So when he falls back, that's when it looks a problem because you think, oh, if you'd have just gone with your hand in the first place, you're making this.
And the big thing with David De Gea, he's so athletic and so agile that if he just worked on his...
He's quick as well.
He's quick.
If
he just worked on holding his shape, just keeping his body weight further forward for longer and transferring through the back of the ball with his hand shapes.
Yeah.
He'd save so much more. He would. He'd naturally do that because he's athletic and quick and agile. So he's just missing these things and goals are going in and you think, if only he just... led with your hands, lead with your hands more because you're so athletic and quick.
As a massive David De Gea fan, I've got to say I disagree with you both, and I can't, can I? I'm in a sandwich here of two goalkeeping experts.
Don't get me wrong, he's very good. And I'll tell you what he's doing a little bit better this season. He's starting to dominate the space a little bit more. He's normally bottom of the stats when it comes to dominating the space. He's very much a protect the goal goalie.
Stay on your line goalie.
He just protects the goal, and that's been, I think, one of his major downfalls. If he just kept protecting the space, if his starting position was higher, if he came out his comfort zones more, because again, it's not like he can't do it. He can do it.
His distribution this year has been so much better than the last 3 years as well.
I think the beauty of this sort of goalie chat, right, is that it's not. Nobody is saying this is a mistake. I think with every goal that goes in on a Saturday afternoon, I don't care who you are, or where you are, or what you are as a goalkeeper, right? You don't have to say it's a mistake, but there's always something you can do better. Always. I promise you, right? Somebody could beat you from 40 yards and it will go top corner, crossbar in 5 times, right? It doesn't matter. There's something that goalie could have done to be a little bit better prepared or in a more optimal position to get a better chance at making that save.
And this is the thing with Emi Martinez, right? He's the best and the worst because we'll sit in a debrief and he'll go, I should have done better. I've got to do better. I've got to save it. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to lose weight. His standards that high. He believes he should be saving everything.
Really?
So he's like, and he's typically South American, so he's always all like, I've got to save it, I've got to save it, what can I do? And then you have to kind of bring him down and go, come on, mate, do you know what I mean? We can change this, we can do that. But he's like, I've got to save, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to be the best, and then you just have to try and bring him down.
All right, then let's talk about the second goal then, okay? Because when we were walking in it, you said something outrageously interesting about the wall and about how far away Villa players feel the wall has been and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, you explain.
Well, at Villa, we've got a very good detailed set piece coach, right? He has have you heard of Trackman?
Yeah.
With golf and stuff. That's coming to football now. He's got Trackman, he's got his own analyst, and the detail they go into a set piece is phenomenal. So they're doing all this detail. The players are doing the free kicks. It's hitting the back of the net and scoring.
Because you've got some seriously skilled
some unbelievable set piece takers like Buendia, Coutinho,
Louise. Wow, off corners,
phenomenal, like talented players, right? So he's coming into games and they're hitting the wall. It's like constantly hitting the wall. So coming, I think it was Forrest and Steve Gerrard's coming afterwards. He's gone, what the hell is going on? Like you're doing all this, and set piece coach Austin's getting it in the neck. What are you doing? You know what I mean? It's like you do all this work, got all this Trackman, we've got everything. You keep hitting the wall. Like it's a waste of time. We're wasting our time, and obviously it's frustrated. So we have him come in the next day, we have a meeting, and Austin's like, I can't get my head around this. So he goes away, comes back, and he goes, the actual distance of the wall. So I think when the refs stride it out, it's something like 0.8 yards in general, right? So instead of it being a yard step, it becomes 0.8. So it's shorter, but they're not even doing that. They're not actually stepping out the 10 yards. So it's like they're only stepping out 8, plus it's 0.8. So it becomes 6-7 yards. So it's not far enough back.
Instead of being 10, it ends up being about 6.
6 yards. Wow. So no wonder they're hitting the wall. It's like, so he's had a chat with the referees.
The manager has, Stevie G has.
No, Austin, set piece coach, spoke to the referees, and the referees now are actually bringing the wall back and making sure it is exactly 10 yards.
So 12 yesterday.
With the issue now you've got is that people are conceding more. So instead of I'm thinking, well, you've stitched me up here because it's worse for us than it is for you.
Of course, yeah.
So you want to score more, but also we've got to keep them at the back of the net. So we're seeing it later.
Yeah.
So we've got all these technicians that are hitting the target, right? And it's harder for us, isn't it? It's like
we've got more world-class players than ever.
They're getting it over the wall now, and that's a typical, like the other day. That is typical of how it's going to be now. There's going to be so many more free kicks going in because the wall is further back.
Well, I think the thing was, in the game, it looked like the wall was about 12 yards. It looked like it was a good old distance away.
Good distance.
And the ball doesn't go in the top corner.
The issue now is you put 4 in the wall from there, and I'm thinking, Do you need 4 in a wall from there? I'm not sure, but a goalie as athletic as he is and how powerful as he is, I think you've got to back yourself a little bit more because coming with no
Stick
pace.
3 in, so you've got a better chance at seeing it.
Well, from the angle, you can't go straight. You've got to whip round it, so it gives you more time. You've got more time to see it because of where it is. And you don't need 4 in the wall. You're killing yourself.
So you think that was his problem yesterday? Is he's got too many people in the wall, which gives him too little time to react. He can't see it.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't really. And then the execution of it, he doesn't really seem to sort of push off, does he? Like I say, when you've only got a split second to see it, you learn and you work so much in training where you go one step, bang, and you just get after it. And it looked to me like he got a sort of a half a step in, but it wasn't a full step, so he couldn't push off properly. And then there's no strength at range. He gets a tiny little finger on it. It's too late.
Also, you want to offer him the right hand side, really, don't you? Because it takes more time from that angle there. It takes more time. You see it for longer
to go that way,
to go to your right. So you don't want to be too far to your right and off of the left. Cover the left and off of the right, because then you've got more time, especially athletic and quick and agile. You're going to get there.
So what do you make of? If you've seen this clip, we'll put it on screen now. And if you're watching this, right? So I sent it you last night. It's of Emi Martinez, okay? He is, he's basically on the halfway line when this free kick's about to be taken. What is he doing? What is he doing right there?
For starters, Emi is like, when you're working with him, he got made vice captain at the start of the season, right? And it's like, Emi being the vice captain, he's like, everything, right? I need to do everything now. I need to coach the players. I need to, tell them what to do. I need to, he's so enthusiastic and driven and or busy, whichever way you want to say it, but in a good way, because he's so driven and so motivated to win and so motivated to be the best. So he's like, he's pissing people off a little bit. Do you know what I mean? He's annoying people. So you have to bring him down and say, no, Emi, concentrate on yourself and let yourself be the leader. Let what you do. Your leadership will come from what you do on the pitch. Don't be getting involved in too much. So then you become the actual captain, right? So it's then bringing him down again from that. Just keep doing what you do. Don't have to change anything. Don't have to be the be all and end all.
This is a good thing, by the way. He's just eager. He's just
brilliant.
eager, and he wants to help the team.
And it's a totally different culture-wise. It's like English players, South American players, French players. They're all different in their culture, aren't they? So they'll all like different things. He likes to be proactive, and we can do this, do that, and it's really good. He's brilliant with it. But a couple of English players or the French players were just it's too much.
Calm down.
It's too much. Calm down. But he's brilliant in terms of his energy and his enthusiasm and his drive. So that's typical of him.
So what is he doing in this clip then? What is he moving
So you've got the wall, right? And he can see what De Gea can see. Yeah. So he's standing by it. And he's just telling our block.
Yeah. Your two players.
Just to move slightly, just so they. So De Gea can't see the ball. To cover that so De Gea can't see the ball.
Yeah. It's incredible. I love it. The way he just runs off, boom, goal, and I know for a fact he's buzzing his tree off at that point there.
His energy's fantastic.
We're going to move on in a minute. I just want to talk about Jacob Ramsey. Just how good of a player is this kid? Because you've got your thoughts on it, Mark.
Yeah, I have. I think he's been not very good this season, to be kind. He played against us twice in January, and I called him out and said I think he's brilliant. Yeah. I've been disappointed, not really heard much about him this season. And then I said in our preview, I'm a bit worried about Jacob Ramsey. And then he goes and has the game he had in January. So I'm just wondering where he's been for the last few weeks. Is it just
difficult for JJ?
Consistency?
Yeah, no, JJ's difficult because he's not really been given, because we've changed formation, changed managers, not been given a role. Mm-hmm. He's his position's been
all over the shop.
10, 8, 6, what is it? It's really difficult for him. And he's a natural player, can play anywhere. Yeah. But not really been bedded down with a position, because our formation's changed all over the place. The way, obviously, it's like Steve liked to play with 2 10s and very narrow. And he played probably one of the 3 midfield players in behind that. It's just been difficult for him. He's not really found a position, but he's a pure natural talent.
Basically, when he finds a position that works
he'll be
for him,
flying.
Just drilling on that, stay on that, settle on that, exactly, and then that's it.
With the new manager coming in, hopefully he will get a position where he can just bed down. You know what it's like. You need to get that momentum and you need to get that feel, don't you? Yeah. But he's just been playing in too many different positions. But if you need a ball carrier, strong, quick, brilliant.
I've been really impressed with him, but it's only when he plays against United I'm like,
it's been really difficult. Yeah. Really difficult. He just doesn't know where he's going to play.
Love it, lads. It's time for What You're Wearing. Okay, we're going to go with Mark Goldbridge first because Neil Cutler has bought in the worst shirt ever, and you'll see why in a minute. Mark,
I've won it before.
Mate, this is giving me Paulin's vibes. Yeah.
It's got Cantona on the back.
Okay, it's Cantona vibes, then that's what I meant.
Yeah. No, Paul Ince wore it. I believe it's the first kit we had when we won the Premier League away. When we won the Premier League, so I think it was like 92, 93 or 4, around that area. I had the pair of shorts as well, and I've gone, because it's getting a bit cold, I'm not like you, I've gone for the old winter look that I used to wear.
You're not a sweater, you are. You don't sweat.
Wear it over a jumper.
Kurtz, please show off. So what I always do is I always ask the guests to bring a shirt in, like, bring an old shirt in, mate, you know, something you wore back in the day or something like that. This is what he bought in. Have a look at this.
Listen, I've got to explain myself here, right? My parents got all my tops.
Yeah.
Right? Not a chance to pick any up. So literally my boy Charlie had this in his room, and I'm thinking, right, this kind of is kind of my favourite area of Stoke, to be fair. Just, I left them in a championship. They got promoted to the Premier League. But
you don't know who it is?
I think, who was it? Was it Simonson?
Yeah, number 14, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around that, wasn't it?
So where would you have got it from then?
No idea. I've no idea.
Bought it off eBay.
But yeah, like, when you said about, you know, like, bring a top from your playing days, like, the Stoke era for me was where I played most of my games. You know, we got promoted. So it was my fondest memories of playing.
Got a special place in your heart.
Special place in my heart, yeah. So
Lecoq Sportif, by the way. Do Lecoq Sportif sponsor many teams nowadays?
Are they still, like, I think?
Are they going? Like,
I don't think so.
Yeah, tennis, aren't they?
Are they?
I think so.
I don't know. But that's why I bought that, because, you know, that's my fondest memory of when I played.
So me and Kutz used to play together, by the way, at Stoke, and I remember Kutz back in the day, like, remember the silver shirt? There was like a green version and a silver version kind of thing. They were actually pretty nice shirts, weren't they? I was hoping you were going to bring one of them in, but you bought that. Anyway, right, let's talk about Spurs and Liverpool. I said at the beginning of the show that Antonio Conte being a bit of a baby. I'm just going to, put some more context around this. He's done this already, by the way, and I don't like this, okay, because they've lost the game 2-1. Spurs... Yeah, they were a little bit unlucky. You know, they hit the post, hit the crossbar. They had some other chances. But after the game, Conte comes out and he says, you know, basically, if the fans are going to keep booing like they're booing, then we'll have a look at it at the end of the season. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, mate. Hang on. I think, personally, you're lucky to be manager of Spurs. I think Spurs are doing you a bit of a favour. So I don't see how you can come and say that about Spurs. Spurs are a monster, aren't they? Come on.
I think that I've said it for a while, and I know a few Spurs fans as well. That's not Spurs. Like, I know they don't win anything, but they have got an identity of playing a certain brand of football. I've watched them twice this week, Marseille and Liverpool, and they start the game ridiculously defensive. They concede goals, and then they go. They remind me of England, actually. Harry Kane must be thinking he's on a busman's holiday. It's like deja vu, because they set up so defensively, and then they go 2-0 down, and then it's like England against Germany the other month. And then they go for it, and you go, you can do it. Yeah. You can do it. Liverpool were under the cosh in the second half. So I think Spurs fans have got every right to moan about the brand of football they're getting, because they are going to drop. I think they've lost their last 3 out of 4. They're going to drop out the top 4. And then it's a bit like when United had Mourinho. You take it because you think you're going to win the league, and that's the buy-off, isn't it? Yeah. They're going to drop out the top 4, and they're playing rubbish football. And teams like Liverpool and certainly Arsenal, their biggest rivals, are doing it the right way. I don't think he will sign a new contract, but I don't think he's got the power. I agree with you. I think Spurs fans are starting to go, we want more than this.
Yeah. That is the trade-off, isn't it? It's like, you either want to see good football, do you know what I mean? It's like, and you might not win stuff, or you see average and win stuff. So it's like, but if you're going to be a manager, right, if you're going to be a manager of these top-end clubs, you've got to be patient, and you've got to be the one that stands up and goes, stick with me. I'm a serial winner. I win things. Be patient, because we're going to move forward. So you can't be coming and going, lost a game, I might not be here at the end of the season. It just doesn't work. It's like you've got to be like, I win things. Stick with me. Football might not be the best, but I win things, so stick with me. It's going to move forward. Not we'll see how it goes.
Well, it's going to antagonise the fans. I mean, I know a lot of Villa fans, and they always said with Steven Gerrard that, you know, good manager, but there was always felt like it never quite works. Like there was never really that connection. Whether it's because of the whole media nonsense about it being a stepping stone to Liverpool, you don't know. Sometimes those things can be out of your hands. But with Conte, I agree with you. I think there's a bit of an arrogance there, and fans are very educated. They're not just going to put up with a manager going, "Stop booing me, or I might go in the summer." They'll go,
they can
go now. Yeah.
What's a club, by the way? That ground is unbelievable.
That's what I'm saying. I think that with all Spurs have got going on for them, when I say massive club, I know they're not necessarily winning things season after season, but if you look at the bigger picture, they have got the ability to be an absolute monster, haven't they? What do you make of their season so far, Spurs?
Like we said, the brand of football has not been great. But they're still there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not doom and gloom for them. They just got once they get into it, and I'm sure eventually it will happen because he's a serial winner. He gets teams winning. So I'm sure they'll be there or thereabouts at the end of the season.
Yeah, okay. It's time for my favourite part of the show. I know it's your favourite part of the show as well. It is time for the world-famous 60-second football fill-in quizzle. Come on, the boys. Right, Neil Cutler. Football knowledge. What are you saying?
Average.
Right, so let me explain the format if the name doesn't do it justice. It is a 60-second quiz.
Yeah.
It's obviously timed, and I will rattle through the questions as quickly as I can. You'll have a mixture of older questions, a mixture of what happened this weekend. Pressure's on, 60 seconds.
I'm going to be useless at this.
You good to go?
Yeah, go on.
Mark Goldbridge, by the way, is currently third in the league with six right. I'm currently top with 8, so that's what you got waiting for, okay?
None here.
Do you want to give a shout out to Edgar Davids in his Barnet kit, by the way?
Did you get that right last week?
Yeah, I got that. That's the only one I got right last week.
He's a little memento.
Yeah. Okay, timer. Jiminy, are you ready to go?
Ready.
Neil Cutler.
2, 1, go.
What team did David Beckham play for in the MLS?
LA Galaxy.
Who scored their first Premier League goal this weekend for Bournemouth?
I don't know.
Haven't here. In which season did the European Cup get rebranded to the Champions League?
2000.
92. Who came on for Leeds on their 19th birthday this weekend?
Don't know.
Gnonto. What nationality is Sadio Mane? You can pass.
Pass.
Senegalese. How many games were played on Sunday this weekend?
6.
5. What is the main colour of Nottingham Forest away kit this season?
Blue.
Yellow. There was only one draw this weekend. What match was it?
I don't know.
Forest Brentford. Which player was the Italian captain until his international retirement?
Maldini.
Buffon. How many red cards? How many red cards were this weekend?
3.
2.
Oh.
Which UK team was the first team to win the European Cup?
Forest.
Celtic. Who was the only player to score a brace this weekend?
Who's only what?
Only player to score a brace this weekend.
That was some bad questions there, by the way.
You got in a roll.
You get to finish, yeah, because you haven't answered it yet, so it's fine. I asked the question before the time went, so you get to finish, right? Take your time, because currently you're on 1. Yeah? 1.
Is that lowest by 5?
Which puts you at the bottom of the league, all right? And you will be out on your own if you don't get this right, okay? Who was the only player to score 2 goals this weekend?
Golden Boot winner.
Salah.
Hey!
Some bad questions
James
there.
sacked on questions.
Yeah. Who did them, by the way?
2.
They were all.
He got 2.
What was the Champions League? 2000?
When was it
Who's ever
rebranded?
going to get that?
It was 93.
Would you have got that?
I'd have gone early
Possibly
90s.
not, no.
There you
Possibly
go.
not. Cutler, you scumbag.
Nah, Jamie's the scumbag.
No.
They were horrific under pressure, them questions.
Why does everybody get all pressurised?
I hated
I think it's
it.
when you
I
get
hate
when
it.
you get 2 wrong, your mind just starts. It goes, doesn't it? That's what happens.
Oh, Neil Cutler, in the mud. You are bottom of the
Horrific.
league. Horrific show.
Why have you still got 8? I
Because
thought that was
I
a
got 8.
reset last week.
No.
It was double or nothing.
No.
Yeah,
Don't
I
work
think we'll
like
check
that.
the tapes.
Don't work like that. It wasn't an official one last weekend.
Have you got 8? I bet them questions are really easy.
He writes them, yeah.
No, I'm just clever. I'm just smart.
Right.
All right. Shambles, Neil. Absolute
Yeah, apologies
shambles.
for that. I folded under pressure there massively.
Right, okay, we want to talk about Chelsea Arsenal, right? So I said at the beginning of the show, somebody needs to start putting some respect on Newcastle and Arsenal's name. This was a big win at the weekend. This was a big win, yeah? Away at Chelsea, a statement win, right? And they were genuinely just better than Chelsea, wasn't they? Full stop, they were just better than Chelsea.
I thought it was a funny game because Arsenal were a lot better, but then you look at the goal, it's such a terrible goal to concede. It's like a pea roller across the 6-yard box. So Gabriel must just think, it's my birthday. Absolutely unbelievable. But Chelsea were a bit like United when we went there a few weeks ago. First half an hour, you're dominating them at Stamford Bridge in their own half. Arsenal didn't really create that much. But the thing that struck me is that Arsenal have played a lot of games, but they seem to always be putting out the same 11, which must be a great thing for Arteta. One for Arsenal to have a best 11, because you never could pick it. And now it's fit all the time. And I looked at the Chelsea team and I was like, that don't look good enough to me.
It's like a bit of a mix.
Loftus-Cheek's in there. Cucurella at left back. Obviously, Chilwell's injured. Chalobah's playing at centre back. I mean, I'm not saying Loftus-Cheek and Chalobah are bad players, but I'm like, I don't expect Chelsea to have a starting 11 like that against Arsenal. And I think it's a big job for Potter, and I hope they give him the patience. I'm sure he'll get the money, but they are a club that are... Well, Arsenal are a club that are 3 years down the road, back your manager, give him time. Yeah. Chelsea are, 3 weeks down the road.
And this is the thing, and this is the discussion. It's like Arteta's had time, he's had money, he's had patience. Not all managers are getting that. Do you know what I mean? You have to have that. Unless you're going to throw a ridiculous amount of money in Man City, like millions and millions, you're not going to get that straight away. You have to wait. And that's what Arteta's done. He's been through that rubbish patch. He's got through it. He's got the team in he wants to do. He's got the formation. He's got the style. He's created a philosophy, and it works. So surely, like, you got owners now should be sitting back and going, right, okay, we are going to have to put some money in, but if we're just patient...
Follow that model.
Follow the model, just let a manager come in and create a philosophy and an environment that works, and it does. It's like,
I think that word there, the environment word, is a massive thing in football. If you've got a manager who... So he's had plenty of little things that have tested him and tripped him up along the way. The Aubameyang thing, for example. But he's stuck to his guns. He's gone, no, I'm not having that. Yeah, I'm not having that. I've changed the goalie. I've implemented and doing what I want to do. And now you watch Arsenal on a Saturday afternoon and they do the same thing every single time. They're relentless with it. They know a way of playing football, a style. They've got that. And they stick to it. And it's brilliant to see.
I think fans have got a big part to play in it as well, because media... I mean, I do a lot of fan stuff, and I think it's great when you see the media getting ripped apart, whether it's a journalist or an ex-pro. Yeah. That didn't used to be the case. So this fan media thing is great, because I think fans have got so much power now. And I think if we sat here and went, well, we've just spoken about Spurs. Do you want to invest in Conte for the next 3 years? I think that's probably 50-50 at the moment. Do you want to invest in someone like Potter? Yeah, I do. Do you want to invest in Ten Hag? Yeah, I do. Arsenal nearly got it wrong. Some fans did want to invest. Some were printing T-shirts. Piers Morgan's there saying, why are you getting rid of Aubameyang? But I think, hopefully, some fans now will look at their individual club and go, this is the manager. Look at what Arsenal have done. Let's give him... And the board have got to be behind it as well. Yeah. But fans have got a big part to play as well, because you could easily go, well, why have we got Potter in 6 months at Chelsea and let's force him out? But I think that would be a mistake.
Oh, mate, if Chelsea lose 2 or 3 more out their next 3 or 4 games, he's under pressure
We've got
already.
Newcastle next week.
Oh, completely crazy.
Newcastle at Newcastle next week.
Chelsea have got a history of... They have a new manager every 6-9 months. Yeah. That's the way it works at that football club. So as fans, they've got to sort of look at themselves in the mirror a little bit and go, no, we're not doing that anymore. We've got to stick with him.
You've got identity. The club has to have an identity. You can't keep switching and changing.
How impressed you been with Aaron Ramsdale this season?
Very good, brilliant. I think he's come on leaps and bounds. He's obviously a goalkeeper that's got bundles of ability. Yeah. He's calm in possession. His shot stopping's excellent. And coming into the World Cup, I think he's got to be getting close to starting.
Would he be your number one for the World Cup?
He probably would be for me. He's got everything you'd want. He steps into the big games, he's confident, commanding and calm.
Do you think that playing for a team at the top of the league and being in form and playing that style of football will lend itself nicely to England?
Exactly right. But how confident is he to play break lines with passes, he'll protect the space really, really well, it comes for things. And he looks like he enjoys it. Yeah. That's what you want. When you played, exactly the same as you. In terms of you go out there and just love it. Love it.
He's got this. It's like Edison and Alisson have that aura about them of they don't give a shit, right? They don't care if they make a mistake. It could be in the first minute, 90th minute. They are still going to do the same thing. Rambo's got that about him. He has. It's like a. I don't know whether it's because he's not clever enough to know that he's not doing that. And I don't mean any disrespect, by the way, there, Rambo.
You do
it's a good thing to have that. Yeah. It's that blindness to any of the shit and any of the fuss and the stress and stuff.
Yeah.
Just does what comes naturally to him.
Exactly
And
right.
he's a classic case of a naturally gifted goalkeeper. Stop the ball going in the back of the net. Boom.
And I always say it, confident to the point of arrogance.
Yeah.
And that's why I was always trying to get Emmy to be confident to the point of arrogance, and he is that. He's bordering on arrogance.
Yeah.
But that's where you want him to be. That's when they're like
autopilot.
Yeah, just like loving it but being consistent with it, not up and down and like. I think Pickford is a top class goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong, but he can be a little bit inconsistent, and that comes down to a lot of detail as well. In terms of his triggers and the way he keeps goal, he can be quite erratic. But I think like Ramsdale is right up there with his consistency.
Love it, lads. It's time for Champ and Chump of the Week. Okay, nominations this week then. Champ of the Week, Mo Salah. I've got to throw him in there. 2 goals, back to form. If you had him in the FPL this week, well done to you. You scumbags. I had an awful week. I don't want to talk about it. And it seems like every week we seem to be putting this guy into it, but Miguel Almiron, what a season the guy's having. Can I read you out this little tweet that I screenshotted yesterday? It is absolutely world-class, by the way.
Not Jack Grealish again, is it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Listen to this, right? I'll put it on screen now. Jack Grealish is out for a leisurely Sunday afternoon stroll when suddenly his phone starts hopping. Mention after on social media, and automatically he knows what's happened. Miguel Almiron has gone and scored a goal, and everybody's going, thanks, Jack. So I'm putting him in there again because he is having a banging season and he just seems to be scoring week in, week out. And finally, third and final nomination this week is Leeds fans. Leeds fans, right? I don't know if you saw this, but a Leeds fan took a picture of his, what they called iWatch. Are they called iWatches? Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, literally they are, yeah. Okay. He took a picture of his iWatch and it said, basically, be careful. Loud noises have been detected. It will hurt your ears if you stay around this for too long. And that is because he's inside the stadium and it's kicking off because Leeds are scoring last-minute winners and all this kind of stuff. And it must be an absolute joy to be a Leeds fan at this moment in time because you know you would stay around till the 95th minute of every single game because it's likely you're going to see a goal get scored or two. So who are we saying? What are we thinking of the nominations, first of all?
I think I'd go Leeds. Because I don't like Leeds, being a United fan, but I watched that winner and I just was like, that's football for me. That is it. The way they broke from 3-1 down, the crowd, you can't be down on that, no matter, even if they are big rivals. That's what football's all about.
Yeah. Their high-speed running, their distances have gone up since the new manager's come in.
Since Bielsa?
Since Bielsa's left. You thought, like, it's crazy, Bielsa, the running under Bielsa was ridiculous. It's actually now gone up. The high distance size, high speed, high distance has gone even higher.
Wow.
So it's crazy the way they just keep going and keep going. They're just machines.
Mate, even if they concede 2 or 3, you know for a fact they're in with the chance of scoring 2, 3, 4, 5 themselves.
Can never settle.
Yeah. Brilliant. Leeds fans, well done. Well done. Champ of the week. Time for Chump of the Week. We've got 2 nominations here. One I've already mentioned a few times. It's Antonio Conte, not having the best of time with Spurs. They've lost 3 out of 4 and he is threatening to kind of walk again, which nobody likes to see or hear. And also we've got João Cancelo, who has ruined an awful lot of people's Fantasy Premier League this weekend. Theo Baker on my Instagram, actually, I put a picture up of my FPL team saying, this off to a great start. Haaland's on the bench. Foden's on the bench. João Cancelo's just got a red card, absolutely buzzing, and he just messaged me and said, I had him as captain this week as well. So he captained João Cancelo. Unlucky. Who are we saying? Conte or Cancelo?
I mean, you could do it for FPL, but I actually, we were talking about it before. I thought the Cancelo thing technically is a red, but I just felt it didn't feel like it was a red to me. I mean, I know it is a penalty, and I know it is technically a red, but it felt like he's just done the old barge. The keeper's very close. I mean, it made the game a bit more interesting. So I think Conte for me. I think you shouldn't be calling your fans out.
Yeah, Conte for me.
If you're a Villa manager and one of your players gives away a free kick like that against Cancelo, are you a little bit upset about it? Because I kind of agree with Mark a little bit here, where I think he's given the penalty away for one. He's barged into him. I understand it. It's a foul. It's a penalty. I just think that the player kind of knew it was coming and happily went down with it a bit too much. I think if the striker hadn't looked and saw Cancelo coming across him and just got absolutely whacked, I could understand the red card. I just think he kind of knew it was coming a little bit. I just think a yellow card and a penalty is enough punishment there, right?
Yeah, it's a bit similar to the De Bruyne incident, right? He gets clipped, he gets a little touch and he goes down.
Yeah.
They're going to play for it.
Is that a penalty in your eyes, by the way?
It has to be a penalty because they're the rules.
Yeah.
And it's just
one against bloody Sancho 2 weeks ago.
It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Man City
It's
seems
the
to get that.
inconsistency. It's always the inconsistency.
Yeah, that's the thing. But all players, they train for it now. They know it's like as soon as you get a little nick, you're going down no matter what.
Oh, it's
you're going down no
horrible.
matter what. The game has changed though. It's changed. That's just the way it is now, and we have to just accept it.
We
and
have to go
expect
with it. Well, to be fair, like on the opposite side though, Sessegnon for Spurs against Liverpool as well, same sort of thing. It's a push, but that one wasn't given, and I
Yeah,
think
that's
because the referee didn't give it.
Yeah, VAR.
If he gives it, if the referee gives the penalty there, which I think is 50-50, some would, some wouldn't, they're not overturning it, are they?
VAR, it's a good point. VAR is a waste of time on penalties because if you look at that Sancho one, it wasn't given, similar to the De Bruyne one. The VAR won't overturn it because they want to stick by the referee. Then when the referee gives it, they won't overturn it because they want to stick with the referee. So VAR's not actually doing its job on penalties. It's there to go, well, we'll just stick with the ref unless it's clearly not. They won't overrule a soft penalty.
Neil Cutler, quick yes or no, VAR.
Yes.
Really? Scumbag! Don't do it! No.
Yes. I think it just gets rid of all those those little things where you think, like that little bit of injustice for me.
Yeah.
I know we have to put up with all the rubbish that goes around it. We have to wait. The atmosphere's killed a little bit. But there's been so many times in the past, and I can just thinking back where you just think that shouldn't have been a goal, or that was definitely a goal, or with VAR it just cuts out that little bit of
the error.
so many times. I can remember sitting in the dressing room looking back at clips on my iPad going, what the hell? Do you know what I mean? And that just gets rid of all that for me, and it makes it, obviously, like I say, it kills the atmosphere, and it is ridiculous at times, but that grey area's gone. That little.
Do you know
bit
what I would love to see? I would love to see them just give it a go again without VR for 3 months. Just give it a go for 3 months, right? And see after that and go, right, that's it now. We're making our decision. Everybody vote on it, yes or no, what you're saying, and just go from there. Because I reckon if we went back to it for 3 months, fans in stadiums, people watching at home, you actually get to celebrate a goal, enjoy it, and know it's a goal. And I think people will change their mind and go, you know what, it was better before.
But have the refs been good enough to be able to cope with that? Do you know what I mean? Have they been consistent enough at that highest level to go, we feel like the refs are the best in the world, because they need to be, because the league's the best in the world. Yeah. Have they been consistently good enough to be able to make decisions? Because let's get it right, they actually struggle with VAR decisions and not. Do you know what I mean? So they actually struggle when they're watching it back. So
I think they're second guessing themselves all the time. So they know they've got this like safety net to fall back on kind of thing. So I think that's a problem with. But I think for me personally, I will accept human error. I'll accept human error, but the fact that it kills the game so much is the reason why I'm saying no. So unlucky, you're wrong. But we'll move on. I want to talk about Leicester, okay? I want to talk about Leicester because I'm wearing this shirt in honour of them today. Seb, who works for us, is a big Leicester fan, and he was crying into his breakfast every day for the last sort of 3 months of the start of the season. And now all of a sudden they're starting to win games and they are on fire again. But the one I want to talk about is James Maddison, and this guy just seems to have stepped it up to a different level, because he's always been a player, he's always had ability, and he's setting goals up and he's scored goals. But in the last 6-7 weeks, this guy is on fire, and there's still, which is crazy, a debate around the fact of whether or not he's going to go to the World Cup. Cuts, what you're saying?
When we talk about Rambo, when we talk about enjoying football, he epitomises that. Yeah. You see him on the pitch and he's smiling, he's laughing, he's just enjoying himself. It looks like he's on the pitch with his mates.
Yeah, like a big kid,
down the
isn't
park.
it?
He's like a big kid, but he's got so much ability. Like if you can bring that player to a World Cup that just play off the cuff and like has got so much ability to create and score, surely he's got to be around it. You can't dismiss it because he brings so much. He always has, and his consistency level is not really ever really. I know the team themselves didn't start the season very well, but in general, he's been excellent.
I think his problem on an England stage is that he kind of plays through the middle a bit more, doesn't he? He's not really an out-and-out winger or wide man or anything like that.
Comes off the line, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
drifts
does. Yeah,
in.
he likes to come
causes
inside.
teams problems from doing that.
That's exactly what I think it is. But I think Gareth Southgate, it's in his head that he just wants to play with these wide players who can swap over, and they can all swap over and mix in and all that kind of stuff. That's the only reason why I think he's not going to. Other than the fact that I think Gareth Southgate deep down probably don't like him, which is probably the reason.
I think you've hit it as well. I think Southgate's too rigid. did. I don't think he's a very good coach, to be honest. And I think that he won't get his head around the fact that this is a November World Cup where people are playing last week in the Premier League and then into the World Cup. You're not having a break. You're not having a training camp. Yeah. He will go, I'm going to go with the players that have got me here. And you're going to miss out on the Callum Wilsons, the Ben Whites, the James Maddisons, who are going to basically take the shirt off, put an England shirt on. And I think a few teams will get caught out. I mean, we don't know in the World Cup, but I think a few teams will get caught out by going with the status quo when actually it's the one World Cup where you might want to go with some form players who are just going to go, I'm ready, just put me in the shirt and let's play.
Well, look at players in a similar sort of position. Yeah, Phil Foden hasn't really been playing the last few weeks at Man City. Jack Grealish, in and out. Raheem Sterling, doesn't look like he's firing, does he? You've got all these players. Marcus Rashford, again, been scoring some goals, but then he's in and out and he's up and down. Mason Mount, exactly. I'm starting him 100%.
He's got to go. Kind of a different. I went out to watch Argentina train a few weeks ago with Emmy. Emmy was out there, and oh my God,
really?
Like the standard was phenomenal.
Was
phenomenal. And you look back and you go, they're on a journey. Like you can see the togetherness and we talk about environments and creating environments. They're coming off the bus, music's playing. They're all and you go, wow, they've got a hell of a chance. They're good to go. They're bubbling them.
Is that your hot tip for the World Cup?
100%.
Yeah.
They are different class. Different class.
I had this bet with somebody the other day. I can't remember who it was. They had Argentina, I had Brazil, and I think I had a tenner on it or something.
Everyone's going for those two, though. I mean, I hope they do. It'd be nice. 2002 last time a non-European club won it.
Quick one, just give me a little bit of a word on Danny Ward. Started the season tough. He's got some big boots to fill, but looks like he's come back into form now.
That's the big thing. And consistency, do you know what I mean? You've got to get momentum to gain consistency. You've got to play games. And when you're going in, he's not been playing, like you say, big boots to fill, going into the Premier League, you're going to have a little bit of a wobble. You're going to have a bit of an up and a down. But now he's starting to get that consistency through playing consistent games, playing week in, week out. Yeah. Now he's getting into a rhythm. And like I say, it takes that little bit, at the start, and then you get yourself into a rhythm, then you're flying. And he looks like he's now in that rhythm, looks like he's confident, looks like he's now, that's where he needs to be at.
Yeah, Danny, buzzing for you, mate. Well done, pal. It is tough, though. When you've been your best part of your career as a number 2 goalkeeper, it's tough to just go and expect to be able to do it. It's a different way of doing stuff. You have to prepare differently every single day of the week and stuff like that. So, no, buzzing for you, mate. Leicester on fire. Man City, I said at the beginning, I just don't like the way that they get this 95th minute penalty, and it doesn't seem like a proper penalty. It's a bit soft. But to win with 10 men, that's City all over, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they scored after 15 minutes, didn't they? And I said, that's that. Fulham made a bit of a game of it with the penalty. The red card made it a bit interesting, but they're just too good. I mean, you say late penalty. Haaland nearly scored an acrobatic. He had an offside goal.
Offside, yeah.
They're not going to lose games like that. They're too good.
It doesn't matter how many players they've got. They get into positions to receive the ball constantly. And they don't just jog there, do they? They sprint into positions.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And they can play anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like a centre-half stepping in or wingers coming in off the line and interchanging, and they're just so confident and comfortable in possession. It doesn't change.
Deep down, right, when you play Man City, so when you were at Villa and you were playing away at Man City at the Etihad, right, deep down, did you always have this feeling going into the game thinking, please don't let this be 7 or 8?
It's the only team.
It's the only team, right?
Against Liverpool, obviously you've played against all these big teams. Against Liverpool, you've got a chance. We've got a chance.
Yeah.
Man City, when they turn it on and when they're on it, you're going, wow.
There's nothing like it,
wow.
Is there?
And we spoke about last time we drew 1 all at home, and the only way to really do it is to kill the momentum, because once they're in momentum, they're like a steam train. You can't stop them. So we just, as much as possible, once you kill their momentum, then they start to argue.
Disrupt the game.
Stop it. Like, you've got to do everything you can and they start to, they're not quite sure about, they're all getting arguments and they struggle with it.
Yeah.
They can't deal with it. So you have to try and, as much as you can, disrupt the rhythm, because
I can guarantee you then, I'm buzzing you said that, because I'm guaranteeing you every single goalkeeper or goalkeeper coach up and down the country going into a game against Man City will feel exactly the same thing. It's mad, isn't it? Yeah, it's a horrible feeling, Mark.
Our threats meeting was about 2 hours long. I was rocking the call out.
I'll tell you though, the worst feeling I've ever had in my football career, 18 minutes gone, away at Man City, 5-0 down.
Is that Watford?
Watford. 18 minutes
What did
gone.
it finish?
Horrible, isn't it?
8 it finished. But I was doing the maths, mate. I'm thinking, so this is going to be a new world record. It's going to be 16-0. But I was thinking, but if we're 18 minutes in, that's like a fifth of the way through the game. Then that means it could be about 20-0 or, mate, it's frightening, isn't it? They took their foot off the gas, thank God. Just want to talk about Brighton, up to 6th in the league. Fantastic 3-2 win away, by the way, at Wolves. It just seems to me that they've got a style, a way of playing now that's their identity. They could change the manager, sell players, it doesn't matter. They just seem to know what they're doing, yeah?
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier, didn't we? And I think that's what it's all about, and that's where clubs should be heading with that blueprint.
Yeah.
Create your identity, stick with it, and if the manager changes, he comes in, but he stays with
Doesn't change anything, really.
It doesn't change, nothing changes, and what happens is you create that from the academy all the way up to the first team. Yeah. So the players are coming through and are coming in and getting into your under-21s and coming into your first team, understanding what the philosophy is, and they just slip in seamlessly, whereas different managers change, different thoughts, different ideas. Players like, what are we? What is the identity of the football club? Now, Brighton have got a strict identity. You know what they're all about. You know how they're going to play. Doesn't matter. The manager changes. He comes in. It's like, this is our identity. This is what we're all about. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really good, and I think that's how a lot of clubs should be heading now.
Beautiful. What else did we have? We had Forest 2, Brentford 2. Talk to me about that Dean Henderson penalty. Have you seen it? Player skips by him, comes out to the edge of the bar, player skips by him.
I think in that game, we spoke about penalties earlier, there could have been 3 or 4 penalties in the game.
Yeah.
I think he was a bit naive. I don't think he needs to put his hand out. There was no need, and it was kind of one of those...
It's like to slow him down or something.
I don't know why you would do that. But Hendo can be a bit like that, can't he? He can be a little bit like... like his head's all over the place.
You're a big fan of him, aren't you?
Well, the second goal, I mean, I'm not the goalkeeping expert here, but I might have hit on something. He keeps doing this. He sort of comes to the halfway house. He runs out and stops, and the keeper, you'd mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, just lofts it over him.
Yeah.
If he stays a bit, you were saying the other week, he's got more of a decision to make. If he fully commits...
Well, I think it's his starting position to start with. He was too deep to start with. When I think from where the ball was played, he has to be outside his comfort zone a little bit more. He has to be more on the front foot. And I think the same happened with Lloris the week before when he came out. You've got to be more... Your position in relation to the ball has to be higher from there.
Well, they concede a lot of goals over the top, don't they? So you know it's coming a lot.
He needs to be sweeping a bit more, doesn't he? I remember back in the day, Cuts used to say to me all the time, you can be a step more than you think you can. So, automatically inbuilt in goalkeepers is... You want to go... You always try to go the safer side kind of thing. But I remember Cuts coming in and going, you can be another step further out than what you want to do. It doesn't come naturally, but when you actually work on it and get it in your head and think, all right, cool, I'm going to do that, the amount of things you find that you're able to do and come and get and take and sweep up, it's incredible, isn't it?
It stops that little bit of like, shall I, shan't I?
When
you're in your comfort zone, it's like you are or you're not. When you're in that comfort zone, it's like, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Get out your comfort zone, you're either coming or you're not. When you're in your comfort zone, it's like, shall I, shan't I? And I think if you're going to sit deeper, which is what Hendo did, I think that's what it's going to cause. You're going to get caught in the middle a little bit.
Big win for Palace away at West Ham. That puts them up to 10th. We've got our naughty little wall chart on there. 10th Palace. Well done, absolutely cooking now. And finally, before we go, just got to talk about Newcastle, lads. I said at the beginning of the show, people need to start putting some respect on their name, and they are showing everybody now that they're genuine contender for top 4, right?
Not sure.
No!
They are flying, don't get me wrong. We played against them last week. Well, Villa played against them last week, and they were...
You were there then. You were there.
Newcastle, once they got on top, with that atmosphere, it's like, they're confident, they're at it, they're obviously really well coached. Whether they can sustain that over a whole season, I'm not sure. But definitely their improvement's been phenomenal, and they've got some really good coaches within the backroom staff. So I'm just not sure whether they've got the capabilities of staying with your Arsenals, your Tottenhams and your big teams around that.
I think if they beat Chelsea next week, I think that's a big game. But I do agree, I think it's the weekend where Arsenal have been realised as title contenders by all the doubters, and I think Newcastle have to be in the top 4 race because they will spend in January, which we would talk about on the United stand. I think that's huge. They're not playing midweek in Europe, so they will be fresh. And I think they've got the confidence and the home support and the away. I mean, they've been to Fulham and smashed them. They've been to Southampton and smashed them. So they're getting the results. I think it's going to be a very interesting second half of the season.
And do you know what also they've got? They've got the bank balance to be able to go and buy anybody they want in January.
I can't believe this. People are talking like Newcastle like they're underdogs. Let's get behind them. I'm like, As soon as they're in the top 4, that's 2 spots gone forever. Man City are never coming out of the top 4. Newcastle will never come out. They are the 2 richest clubs in the league. So let's all get behind Newcastle. But once they get in the top 4, there's only 2 spots left.
Big shout out to our boy Nick Pope. You're the man. Kieran Trippier, you are my fantasy Premier League legend of the season. Miggy Almiron, Guimarães. Proper team. Before we go, finally, just want to talk about... I don't know if you saw this tweet from Gabriel, okay? So Arsenal have just won against Chelsea, and he puts this tweet out. Naughty. So, Cuts, when Aubameyang signed for Chelsea a few weeks back, he's basically coming out and saying all these strange things like, London's blue and I'm back and all this kind of stuff. And then Gabriel wins the game 1-0, puts a tweet out, nothing personal, London is red. So he is definitely winning our shithouse of the week. We've got a couple of nominations quickly. Yuri Tielemans, who I think is a no-brainer for it, to be honest with you, and also Ben Rama at West Ham, because the one about West Ham, right, is he gets it out of his feet, and when players do this and they're on the edge of the box, 20 yards out, and they get the ball out of the feet and think, go on, give it some. He gave it some, absolutely rocketed it in. But we've got to give it to Tielemans, right?
Tielemans straight on Blue Boy.
Beautiful, weren't it?
Really good.
Top corner.
Really good.
What would you say about Pickford there? Can he do any better there? No, Yuri Tielemans, goal of the week. Well done, Geese. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This has been the Football Film. We will see you all next week.